The first lesson that Disney taught me, and it's not what you might think of, oh, how to be nice to people, how to point, how to pick up trash, but it is that Disney runs on processes and systems. And that's how they consistently can deliver great experiences time and again because, well, they pretty much systemized everything. Disney's just got that all figured out. They know how to create an experience out of boring things, answering the phone, greeting somebody, and they know that they are theatrical. You take that level of theater and you can apply it to anything, and you have to take your customer journey.
All right. Welcome back, listener. Today, I have a very special guest on. I'm very excited to talk to Vance Morris today. And Vance has done a lot. He spent a decade at Disney. He progressed through the ranks in management, and his crowning achievement was designing, owning, and operating Chef Mickey's. And that is the premier character dining experience at Disney. And since then, he's done a lot of things. He has stood on stages next to Damon John and Dan Kennedy. He has rescued and worked with all sorts of companies. And now he marries the Disney experience with direct response marketing. And listener, as you know, that's the flavor of marketing we like to work with. It's tangible, it produces a direct ROI, and it's trackable. So, Vance, I can't wait to talk with you. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm just happy to meet somebody else who knows what the heck direct response marketing is.
Yes. So we may go down some fun rabbit holes over here, but just so you know, I've cut my teeth on probably very similar people that you have. So Kennedy is very much in in my books, and the mentor I've never met, truthfully, as I like to call him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, still a
We need
mentor
to fix that
nonetheless.
for you.
Yeah. Well, Vance, you're living in Maryland now. You lived in Orlando, obviously, with Walt Disney World. But tell me about it. I'd love to start with what you learned from Disney. Like I love to cook, so when I saw the restaurant Chef Mickey's and everything like that, I instantly resonated with that. But tell me some key takeaways there, things you really loved, and then I want to progress through your story.
Yeah, sure. So Disney was amazing. I mean, and that's not an understatement. It was almost my first job out of college, but I was lucky enough to be on the opening team of a couple of their resorts, design team of Chef Mickey's, which was just amazing. And then to be around for 3 years and actually operate that restaurant was just nothing short of spectacular. And the fact that it's still the number one character dining destination 30 years later
There you go.
makes me feel all the much better. You know what I mean? Um, but Disney taught me the first lesson that Disney taught me, and it's not what you might think of, oh, how to be nice to people, how to point, how to pick up trash, but it is that Disney runs on processes and systems, and that's how they consistently can deliver great experiences time and again because. Well, they pretty much systemized everything. You want to carry a tray in a restaurant? They got a process for it. You want to change a bus tire? They got a process for that. And so when you have systems and processes as a employee, it gives you freedom because it frees up space in your brain for you to be able to go and do all the nice things that Disney's known for, autographs and pictures and, all that kind of stuff. As an entrepreneur and business owner, systems do the same thing. They give you freedom by not having to be there in the business all the time. So I have three home service businesses here in Maryland that I can still own, but I only spend about 90 minutes a week in them, pretty much cashing checks and kissing babies. Put a general manager in place about 8 years ago, and they run on autopilot. But they wouldn't if I hadn't put in those systems and processes. So that was probably the biggest lesson from Disney.
Can I ask more about that? Because I love the E Myth. And listener, if you haven't read the E Myth or the E Myth Revisited, then it's a book about systems and processes. And so, Vance, my question to you is most entrepreneurs understand that they need the semblance of a system, and very few actually implement proper systems and micro segment go the mile that Disney goes. Um, why do you think there's such a gap between those that understand, yes, I need a process. It can't be custom every time. And then actually creating and implementing processes and systems.
I think a lot of people have the wrong mentality about systems, like they somehow restrict you or restrict your creativity. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. You know, a couple of things with systems and processes, they have other benefits, especially like if you want to go and sell your company. You're talking a couple of multiples if you have operations system, marketing system, operations system. You have those things in place, you now increase the value of your company when you go to sell. Now, even if you don't want to sell and you want to stay a solopreneur, great. And when you retire, you're just going to close up shop. That's fine too. But if you have a system in place to help manage your time, a system in place where you've got, you do the same thing for customer onboarding, it makes sure that you don't miss something that might be vital. I mean, would you want to get on an airplane where the pilot says, "Nah, I don't feel like using the checklist today. I'm just going to wing it."
We're winging it, pun intended.
You're winging it, and that's just, I wouldn't want to be on that plane, and that's, it's the same thing with us. I mean, I've got a very specific onboarding process for new coaching members and new clients, and certain things go out in the mail, certain things are done digitally. And whether it's myself or a VA that's doing this together, that's doing this, we follow the thing because I'm forgetful,
Yeah, same.
and trust me, so yeah, you got to have it. There's all sorts of reasons. And like I said, it just gives you freedom. I mean, you know, if you're always having to think about, geez, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? Well, you're wasting time.
I completely agree. And I want to expand upon that because, for lack of a better term, I call it the illusion of custom. And the reason I say it like that is because early on, I was lucky enough to read from Jay Abraham's works. And I think that set a very strong foundation for me. But the thing he talks about is preeminence and crafting a wonderful experience, whether they become a paid client or not, but starting from it. And I believe Disney does the same. And so when I think of the illusion of custom, I'd love your take on that phrasing, but also how we can create, again, lack of a better term, a theatrical experience within our our businesses and what we do.
Well, I think, one of I'll give you a quick example is, so I have a book. Hopefully, all of your listeners have books because that's the greatest thing for authority, credibility, expertise. You can order it on Amazon and it will come in a plain brown envelope or box or however Amazon sends it. If you order it from me, though, I'm the experience guy. So when I send my book, well, I guess it should be an experience. So I've created a custom box for the book. And the book actually has a bookmark in it. And then I was like, well, I got a bookmark. I should probably put a tassel on it. And I'm like, okay, well, it's kind of a workbook. So I got a pen in there now. And then wait, I'm sending all this stuff. I should probably put a sales letter in there. And then, oh, wait, they bought something. I should put a thank you note in there. So when you get my box now, it's an unboxing experience.
Yeah.
And to customize it, I just have to write on the front of the box, "Hey, Sally, thanks so much for, getting my book and sign my name." So you've got the system, you got the customization.
Absolutely. And, behind the scenes, it takes you all of what, 5 minutes or less, 15 seconds to write
Yeah.
that. But for the recipient, they're saying, wow, Vance took that time and you did curate wonderful items and experiences in it. There's something that I give to every client is my framework that's called the AI proof pillars of a coaching business. And in that is physical items. And I've worked with far too many people that don't have an experience like that. Physical items, welcome gift, milestone based gifts. And funny enough, I had Chris, the co founder and co CEO of Sendoso, on yesterday, and he was talking about gifting. So I believe in the power of it. Thanks for sharing that. I really want to keep hitting on that with each episode is craft a wonderful experience, and physical items go a long way.
Well, I mean, it also activates other senses. I mean, digitally, I mean, you can see the stuff, and that's kind of it. There's no smell-o-vision. There's no, tactile. You can't hear. It's so if you and there's nobody in the mailbox. So I mean, there's lack of competition in the mailbox. The other thing though is when you're sending gifts, and it sounds like you and I are of the same mind, is that you don't want it to be like a branded coffee mug, because let me tell you, when I'm entertaining, the last thing I'm doing is busting out, the Daniel Pope
Yeah,
coffee mug.
it's got my face on it.
No offense, dude. No offense, dude, but that's not happening. But say you gave me a set of Cutco knives and a cutting board, and you had my initials monogrammed on the cutting board. I'm busting that thing out all the time, and I'm saying, you know what? My good buddy over here, Daniel, he's the one who gave me this cutting board. Oh, you're a coach too? Oh, great. You should probably go talk to him. Um, you want to put stuff in front of them they are reminded of you daily. So one of the things I send out, I only have one quote that that I made, and it's "You won't profit unless you implement." And one of the gifts for 1 year was I created a canvas print. It's like 9 inches by 9 inches, with that quote on it, and then just my name,
Yeah.
and sent it out to everybody. Now I get on Zoom calls and that dang thing is hanging in everybody's office.
Yes.
So what's happening is they see Vance every single day.
Yep.
Vance is in the office.
Pop.
And you have to have that kind of omnipresence, in order to stay top of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm sure we could talk all day about gifting and the methodologies of, of
Sure we
that,
could.
but I'd love to hear some other things you learned from Disney and how you're using it for your own coaching and consulting now. Yeah, anything else you'd like to share from the
Yeah,
experience?
well, I mean, looking at how to what I call Disneyfy, which is creating experiences out of boring and mundane things that we have to do to keep the business up and running. Answer the telephone, or, greet somebody, or send a book out, or what have you. So Disney's just got that all figured out. They know how to create an experience out of boring things, answering the phone, greeting somebody. Um, and they know that they are theatrical. Now, granted, they are a movie making company, so it makes sense. But even for us, we want to have some kind of amount of theater and entertainment. So one of my clients, financial advisor, she's in a really big office park in Silicon Valley, and people have a hard time finding her. There's like 150 tenants there besides her. Signage is horrible, et cetera, et cetera. So people have a hard time finding her. So we just created something simple, which was a video. We put one of her advisors out in the car, and we videoed him pulling into the parking lot, pulling into the parking space, getting out, videoed him walking up to the correct door, showed him what door, what button to push for the elevator, what floor to hit when they get on the elevator, and then all the way into the office where there's, a receptionist standing there, waiting to greet you. And we send that out now to everybody before the first meeting. I mean, it cost us almost nothing to do it. The entertainment value and the actual show up rates for that first meeting are just through the roof,
Yeah.
and it solved a problem. So you can look outside the box. I hate that phrase, but it truly is. Look outside your box and figure out how the heck are you going to make an experience out of something.
This immediately reminds me of how we structure pages in a proper format, especially confirmation pages. And listener, one thing that I took away from Vance here sharing that is lead someone by the hand. You're the guide in that scenario, and say, "Hey, this is how we do it. Step 1, step 2," and rudimentary, but guide them through it, because otherwise we cannot assume that they're going to know how to find your email. Maybe it went to spam.
Yep.
What do you do? So, yeah, thanks
Yep.
for sharing that. I love that example.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So, with that said, what were some of the lessons learned from designing, owning, operating Chef Mickey's? I love to cook. I've never been in the restaurant business at all, but I believe that I will be after this business is
Okay.
is done.
Well, I don't want to kill your love of cooking. So maybe working in a restaurant might do that to you.
Yeah.
So you may want to just temper that thought for
Yeah.
a moment.
Yeah.
Um, but no, so when we were building Chef Mickey's, we had to we had to bring everybody who had a stake in the restaurant together. And it brought departments together that are obvious, like the entertainment department, the chefs, the hosts and the busboys. But we also brought in the housekeepers,
Mm.
and to be able to help us with our mission. So our mission was extremely strong, and it was to get Mickey Mouse through 400 seats in 43 minutes or less and make it feel like it's a great time. Now, the reason it was 43 minutes was, well, if you are familiar with restaurants, a table for two in our restaurant was probably in and out in about 43 minutes. So if the mouse didn't get there, they waited, which then, of course, irritated them and backed up our wait list.
Yeah.
So we had to be methodical about and very intentional how we got Mickey through the entire dining room. We created a celebration song because everybody was there to celebrate a birthday, a wedding, a divorce, a bar mitzvah, whatever. So instead of having to stop at each table for that,
Yeah.
we just created a general celebration song, and everybody was able to celebrate along with that. Our mission was so strong that I was actually got the housekeeping department involved. We were sitting in a executive team meeting, and I had already cleared this with my boss because we knew the housekeeper was going to scream about it. And we said, this is an all you can eat buffet. Kids tend to lean towards dessert first, and we have soft serve ice cream machines. So, I mean, the kids were literally like, put their face under the thing, pull the lever back. And so they filled up on ice cream, which after a long hot day in the parks, your stomach starts to rumble. And a lot of the times it just came back out the way it came in.
Oh, no.
And I told the housekeeper, I said, you know what? We got to keep the mouse, moving. I am not an expert at cleaning. You are. Could we get like a hotline so that when anytime somebody barfs in the restaurant, we can just call you and one of your housekeepers will come up and clean it up?
Hmm.
Because our mission was so strong that the general manager was like, yeah, Vance, or told the housekeeper, you better do what Vance is asking
Yeah.
because that's the mission.
That's
So,
interesting.
so
So,
yeah, it's different,
yeah.
definitely. Um, but when you're dealing with, I mean, a whole mix of entertainers, hourly employees, salaried employees, different departments,
Yeah.
it gets interesting. Um, And we found that most of the employees actually had the best ideas. So I mentioned the whole 43 minutes thing. So we got all the departments together and said, okay, how do we, maintain or achieve this 43 minutes? So we went to the bus boys and we're like, okay, what can you do to help us? And they said, well, when we go to clean a table, we got to move the salt and pepper shaker and the sugar boat and the little table
Mhm.
tent and the this and the that. If we just had this all in one basket,
Yeah.
it would go a lot faster. We just move the basket, we wipe the table, put the basket back. Great. So we gave them a basket,
Yeah.
knocked off 32 seconds or whatever it is. And so we went to each department to do that. So really, again, I've said it a couple times, but your mission has to be strong, or your reason why has to be so strong that it compels others to do what you want.
Mm. A lot of takeaways there. I want to ask, why a buffet? Why the buffet design? Was it speed?
Yeah, a lot had to do with speed, and also at the time, Disney hotels were known for having a quick serve restaurant, a family style restaurant, a buffet, and a fine dining restaurant, and that was essentially their model. Um, the Chef Mickey's has gone back and forth between family style, where the servers will bring out big platters of food, and you just
Yeah.
kind of help yourself. But a buffet also is a massive moneymaker. I mean, more so than an a la carte restaurant. I mean, today, if you went there, I believe dinner is like $60, and there's no way you're going to eat $60 worth of food
No.
because you can't do it.
No. I'm sure,
So
especially at the prices that Disney gets for the ingredients and the food. So, Yeah. It interesting. Interesting. Hey, Daniel Pope here. Real quick, I want to give you a huge thanks for listening. If you're enjoying it, I'd love it if you share with others. That's how I get the word out, by you sharing it with somebody that could really benefit from this. Now, I started this podcast to stand out above the noise, to give real growth tactics in a crazy world when others may give some misinformation or not cover everything you need to know. That's not my MO. My MO is being able to give back, being able to help others see what they actually need to do in order to grow. And that's why personally, my company, Be Known, we don't offer any courses or coaching programs. We're a done for you service provider because we know in this world, sometimes people just need a helping hand, a connected team, and an expert to be there every step of the way. So again, I really appreciate you listening, and talk to you soon. Well, okay. So we've talked about the restaurant, we've talked about gifting and systems and the experience so far. So after Disney, where did you go?
Oh my. Well, I didn't die.
Okay.
That's what
Okay.
everybody said. Oh, Disney, you left Disney. You're going to curl up and die. I said, no, that's not going to happen. So I spent a few more years out in the public sector. I was catering director for Smithsonian Museum System in
Wow.
Washington, D.C., Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, and a 3,000 resident retirement community. But along the way, I found out I just make a lousy employee. I don't like to be told what to do, which is why probably so many of us are self-employed.
Hmm.
I'll admit I got fired twice, and I said I'm not going to go through that again. So start my own business. Why not? Right?
All right. We share a similar vein. I was so stubborn as late teenager and then coming out of college and like, well, you know what? I don't want to face the rejection and I don't want to work. So, yeah, it's a long complicated journey like most people. So, now you run a business that marries the Disney experience, how to Disneyfy your business, and direct response marketing to generate an ROI, a trackable profit. I'd love to hear more about that. I'm sure we'll go back to Disney, but I'd love to hear about what you're currently doing.
Yeah, sure. So, in the consulting and advising business, the direct response marketing, again, is that marketing that is designed to get some kind of response, whether it's a phone call, an email, something. So, I'm a firm believer in designing lead magnets, those things that will get you the information you're looking for. Very big into creating shock and awe boxes, for either higher profile or higher value clients. Um, and again, it's trying to put yourself in a box. So when they open the thing up, you should be popping out. And really putting those things together is an art form. I like to say I'm perfect at it, but far from that. But so I tell people, we look at things, okay, where do your customers hang out?
Hmm.
So many clients, they come to me and they're doing what we call the Goodyear blimp kind of advertising.
Mm.
They put their name on a street sign or on a billboard, and they hope people call them. It's like Goodyear. I defy anybody on this call today, if you see the Goodyear blimp at the next football game, call the sales dudes at Goodyear and ask them, how many tires did that blimp sell?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be able to tell you. And it might be fine for Goodyear, but for us small businesses, that's just flushing money down the toilet. So we need to be tactical. We need to be strategic in how we do our marketing. So finding the right audience and where they hang out is important. So I've got a financial advisor who works primarily with business owners. And so now, instead of just doing regular ads and going to regular networking events and pretty much kind of wasting time and money, he goes specifically now to where the entrepreneurs hang out. So there's, Vistage Group, entrepreneurs organization, boardroom thing, organizations, and he becomes a sponsor there.
Hmm.
and the ROI on his sponsorship is insane. I mean, it's 10 grand for the year. He can go to as many meetings as a consultant as he wants to. Uh, and all he's got to do is sign 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
He's got like a 5 to 1 ROI already. He's one group, the EO group, he told me, he's signed almost 25% of the group is now one of his clients.
I
And
believe
he's
it.
not pitching. He's
Yeah.
constantly just delivering value.
He's being in the room. And
Yeah.
that's the first bit of it. And then delivering the value with a compelling call to action. Man, it's so we again, we're cut from the same cloth on this, but sometimes it's so easy to overlook the simple small things. And instead of pining over, man, I've got to go out there and learn Facebook ads. It's like, well,
Oh,
hey,
Lord.
hold on, hold on. So you're a coach who specifically works with, let's say, for example, tire dealerships, tire shops, and you help them run their business better operations. Well, you know what? Maybe you should join the local organization first instead of running the complex Facebook ads. Time and a place for it. And Vance, you know this, but I was on a coaching call today actually with a client, and she wanted to primarily talk about advertising. And I said, well, the reality is with your budget, yeah, you could go out and learn the platform. You don't have enough to hire somebody to delegate it to, but how about these other strategic partnership opportunities? She's like, well, I had a co-collaboration with somebody, and I'm like, okay, do that times 25. So, and anyway,
Yeah.
with
But people I think are lazy. I've got a few
oh
clients
yeah,
just like that. They want the next whiz bang shiny object. And they don't
yeah,
want to leave their little hole in the wall, their office, and go out into the big scary world, and like actually meet people.
yeah,
They want Flakebook to do it. They want LinkedIn to do it. They want Google to do it. They don't want to do the work,
yeah,
and that's where you end up is no clients.
yeah. Yeah, no clients, but a ton of strategy and plans. Oh,
Oh, we all got a lot of that, don't we?
well, especially now more than ever with AI. I mean, it is here, and I can sit all day and create 48 pages of a great business plan, but there's no execution. And I'm coaching myself right now for a second, and there's no execution. Or instead, I could have spent that 6 hours emailing 50 people and saying, "Hey, I think there are ways we can refer business to each other. How about we hop on a call?" Boom, immediate business friendship. And I know we're going to be connected after this because there are things that you do that I absolutely don't do. And I'm sure vice versa.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I am not a lead gen guy
yeah,
by any stretch.
yeah, yeah. And I have zero background in Disney. And you
There you
can run
go.
circles around me on that.
There we go. It's
So,
all good.
So with that being said, what have you seen that coaches or the clients that you work with, what have you seen people doing really well right now? Just like, wow, that is going to generate an ROI.
Yeah, so, really latching on to, the theatrics of things, and being able to really project your personality, or the personality of the company, out there. And as I mentioned earlier, Disneyfying, creating experiences out of the boring and mundane. We in my home service businesses, one of the boring things we have to do is get into the home. So we've
Mm,
scripted an entire
okay.
process of getting into the house. And you can do this with walking into somebody's office or, sending a package. And so we just real quickly, we park in the street. We don't park in the driveway. God forbid I got an oil leak. Now I got something else I got to clean up.
Yeah.
Technician gets out in a clean uniform because he carries extra uniforms with him in case he gets dirty on the beforehand. He doesn't smell because I forbid smoking and I forbid cologne. Nothing worse than the Marlboro man who just took a shower in Axe showing up in your living room. It's disgusting. Got a little gift. And a special mat goes up to the front door, knocks on the door. He doesn't ring the bell. Customer answers the door. Hi, my name's Josh. I'm here to create your healthy home. May I come in? Then he does an exaggeration of wiping his feet on the mat, puts little booties on his clean shoes. And as he's walking in the front door, he presents the client with a gift. Now, when was the last time you had a home service person give you a gift in your home, plumber, electrician, HVAC guy, before any work was done?
Yeah, never.
Probably never. So you can take that. So that theat- theatrical thing. I'm a little hopped up on cold medicine today, so I
All good.
apologize
Yeah.
if I'm a little off kilter today. But you take that level of theater and you can apply it to anything. So, okay, and you have to take your customer journey. I mean, this is the boring, unsexy thing: is mapping out your customer journey, um, and doing it from the point of view from the customer, not from you. So let's say that first point on the customer journey is a meeting with you, and the second point is going to be you giving the proposal on, your coaching services or whatever. Well, that's your point of view. So you're like doing stuff, right? You got the meeting. Now you got to go and you got to take all their numbers and their issues and you're going to put it together in a plan, and a week might go by. But what's your prospect or your customer doing?
Sitting there.
Nothing.
Oh,
They are sitting there
I
and
just
they are
paid him.
waiting. So they're waiting. And what happens when you wait? You get buyer's remorse. You second, guess your purchase. You're bored. And so Disney knows this. So when you go to Disney, you wait a lot, right? In line for food, for the ride, for transportation, everything. Well, they know that that's boring. So they entertain you while you're in line, and they call it line entertainment. So we need to take that same thing and implement it in our businesses. So after the first meeting, you should already have a thank you card already stamped and ready to go. You put it out, and 2 days later, it's going to show up in their mailbox. And then somewhere along the line, maybe you FedEx over a book, or you have your VA give them a call and say, hey, Daniel's working on your proposal right now. He hasn't forgotten about you. It's going to be ready. Now there's activity in that wait period. And don't just rely on email. You got to get multimedia with this, like a video or
Mhm.
in physical mail, things like that. Um, and now you're not compressing time, but you're making that wait time not feel so bad.
Yeah.
And you're also demonstrating more value,
Yeah.
especially if this is a prospect and they haven't given you any money yet. This is valuable stuff that will move the sale forward.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. I have some takeaways for how we can improve our what I would call onboarding timeline. Which yeah, I'm big on this. And when I first sign a client, very first thing we do is we send a wonderful Harry and David gift box with a handwritten note and and then I send a handwritten note as well. And so immediately I saw some things that I can improve, such as sending other physical media and giving access to certain things. S- Anyway, we can talk
Yep.
about that offline, but with that, any suggestions for the prospect or the sales conversation phase? Because you don't have their address ready to go unless you're asking for it. Anything come to mind?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm one of those. I will go to the dark reaches of the netherworld internet, and I'll hunt you down and find you.
Nice.
There's about 9 out of 10 addresses I can find if I've
Yeah.
got a phone number and I got a name and I got a city. I can probably find your address. Um, and I don't think anybody's ever been wigged out by me getting a thank you card from me.
No.
Uh, that hasn't happened yet. Um, but you should be asking for this stuff, and you
Yeah.
shouldn't be shy about asking for it.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I'd like to send you something, from our meeting while I'm working on your proposal. Can I get your best mailing address? So you're not asking for the house address, you're asking for best. They
Yeah.
can give you a P.O. box, they can give you a business, or they can give you your house, whatever. But you don't, once you've got them on the phone, it's a lot easier to get more information from them than trying to get their cold lead, and you're trying to get them to give you information in exchange for a lead magnet.
Yeah.
That's where you run into problems. But say, hey, look, I'd like to send you something right after the meeting, or I'd like to send you a copy of my book right after the meeting. What's your address?
Yeah. And there's stages to it. And don't come out the gate swinging with, "Hey, what's your address?" when they're trying to
Yeah,
download
right.
the lead magnet. Let's let's date a few times before we,
Yeah, exactly.
yes, no, absolutely. Well, Vance, so one of the last things I want to ask you, is there anything that you see, let's just say coaches right now, for specific sake, they're doing wrong, or that you see, hey, you're doing that, but that's going to lead to some challenging roads ahead? Anything come to mind?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the ones that are, generic, like
Mm,
they're a business coach.
yeah,
All right,
yeah,
well, what does that mean, and who is that? Or are you a business coach to, luxury shampoo manufacturers?
yeah,
It's a big difference,
yeah,
right? Because you're actually you gotta know who you're for and who you're not for. One of my clients is a business coach to doggy daycares. He doesn't talk to pooper scoopers. He doesn't talk to dog walkers, doggy daycare center owners only.
yep,
He's making a killing
yeah,
because he is focused and niched, and he is an expert in one very big category as opposed to being a generalist in 26 different categories. 'Cause you're not doing anybody any favors by not being an expert. And you can't be an expert in 26 different things. Yes, there's similarities and overlap. I get it. But, if you truly want to be, you know, known for something, well, you've got to pick something to be known about. You can't be known as a generalist. There are no famous generalists out there. There are famous brain surgeons. There are no famous physician, just regular physicians.
yeah. No, I love that. It's man, far too often I've seen people with wonderful expertise and the best of intentions, and the business fails because they don't want to niche down or specialize in a certain type of category offer. Anyway, much more we can talk about there. But this has been wonderful so far. I'd love to land the plane on any parting words. We've covered a lot. And for the listener, I encourage you, please go back and re-listen to this. I know you just listened to the episode, but please listen to it, and as you go through it a second time, focus on the things that Vance was talking about, such as experience, gifting, lead magnets, focusing, niche, and partnerships as well. But Vance, anything you want to leave the listener with before we dive into where people can find you?
Sure. I think that um, knowing your why, we talked about that, and having that be powerful, because that's what's going to drive you through and keep you from crapping out. You got to have a strong why. My why was I don't want to be an employee again. That darn strong motivator for me, let me tell you. Um, and the other thing is go out and find a mentor or three or six. They can be living or dead. You don't actually have to handshake them and be with them. I mean, Napoleon Hill's been dead for 50 years, but I still consider him a mentor because I continually reread all his stuff.
Yes.
Dan Kennedy is a mentor to you and you've never met him, but that's okay. You don't need to meet the guy because you're studying what it is you do. Find people that are experts in the stuff that you're not, so that they can help you out.
Yeah, I love that. So, Vance, again, we've covered a lot. Listener, I hope you've gotten some wonderful gold nuggets. As you can tell, Vance is an absolute expert in his craft. He's been there, he's done it, he's seen it. And I give him 5 out of 5 stars. So,
Well, thank you, sir.
yeah, absolutely. And Vance, where can they find you? Who's the best fit for what you're doing, who you're working with? Tell us more.
Sure. So people that are, excuse me, primarily my clients are in the professional services space. So finance, accounting, attorneys, and business coaches that have what I would call a large following. So there are some business coaches out there. Ben Glass comes to mind. He's a coach to attorneys. Dan Cricks is a coach to financial advisors. And when I say large following, I mean like hundreds, if not thousands, of members in their coaching group. Because with them, I actually take them to Disney on full immersion boot camps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I just came back. I took 35 retail store owners
Oh, man.
um, She was the leader was a retail coach.
Yeah.
Again, see, specific niche.
Yeah.
And we spent 3 days at Disney, learning how Disney makes the sausage. Um, so those are the kinds of folks I work with. You can find me one of two places. The only social media I do is LinkedIn. If you see me anywhere else, well, it might be my VA posting stuff I don't know about, but LinkedIn, Vance Morris, the only Disney guy there. And then if anybody's having trouble figuring out or being creative on how to figure out how to wow somebody, I do have a free download for everybody. See, I drink my own Kool-Aid. It is a lead magnet, I'm telling you. But it is called 52 Ways to Wow Your Customer Without Breaking the Bank. So it's one wow for every week of the year, and it will get you through the next 52 weeks. And you can find that at wow52ways.com.
Excellent. That's wonderful. Man, this was a masterclass on great experience plus direct response marketing all in a podcast. This was a treat for me on this. I'll
Thank you, man.
date ourselves late February, Thursday afternoon. So anyway, Vance, thank you so much. Listener, thank you so much. And we will talk soon.